la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la ya ya ya, ya la la ya ya ya, ya la la ya 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 la la ya la la la, ya la la ya ya ya, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Together, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 ya ya, ya la la ya ya ya, ya la 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 ya la la la, ya la la ya ya ya, ya la la ya ya ya, ya la 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 la.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
142 in your Siddur. Shalom Aleichem.
Together. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem, Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Kadosh Baruch Hu, Barchuni l'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi-Melech Malchei Amlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
138. 138.
Lecha Dodi. Yalla la lecha Dodi, yalla la lekrat kala, yalla la pnei Shabbat, pnei Shabbat nekabla, yalla la lecha Dodi, yalla la lekrat kala, yalla la pnei Shabbat. Pnei Shabbat nekabla, Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Ishmianu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad, Ushmo L'Shemu Tiferet v'litilah. Together, Yalla la lecha Dodi, Yalla la lekrat kala, Yalla la pnei Shabbat, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat, lechu v'nelcha, ki mekor haberacha, מחשבה תחילה. יאללה, יאללה, לך דודי, יאללה, לקראת כלה, יאללה, בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה. Verse 9. בואי בשלום, עטרת פלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמונה עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, יאללה, יאללה, לך דודי, יאללה, לקראת כלה, יאללה, בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה. יאללה, לך דודי, יאללה, לקראת כלה, יאללה, בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה.
Wish those around you Shabbat Shalom. If you're unfamiliar with someone, introduce yourself.
יאללה, לך דודי, יאללה, לקראת כלה, יאללה, בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה.
So, on this wonderful Shabbat evening, we're going to light the Sabbath candles. And we have so many people who fit the following category. If you have not yet been bat mitzvah or bar mitzvah, Kayla, I can always count on you.
I know.
You come up and help light the Shabbat candles. Even when there's two people in here who only have less than 24 hours to meet this requirement. So you can still come up. There are, there we go. All right.
Yalla la la la, 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 yalla la la. Let's sing it all together. Yalla la la la, yalla la la la, yalla la la la, yalla la la la. Yalla la la la, yalla la la la, yalla la la la. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, b'mitzvotav. V'tzivanu lehadlik ner, V'tzivanu lehadlik ner, V'tzivanu lehadlik ner, Shel Shabbat. Yalla la, yalla la la 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 la, yalla la la.
146.
I awake? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yadalai, yadalai, lai, lai, 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 yadalai, lai, lai. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed. Yadalai, dai, dai, 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 yadalai, dai, dai. Just our voices now. Yadalai, dai, dai, 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 yadalai, dai, dai.
Let us listen for the words that we may hear at this sacred moment as we listen together for the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בהם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, Amen.
As many of you know, I just returned literally Tuesday night from Egypt, and I was on this mission with about 15 rabbis, and last Shabbat, I celebrated Shabbat with almost the entire Jewish community of Egypt, which is fewer than 10 people in the entire country who identify as Jews. And out of those 10-ish people, most of them, with very few exceptions, actually were people who had converted to Islam. Because although they still identify as Jews, when they grew up, there were not a lot of people of marrying age. If you were a woman, there were not a lot of men, and if you were a man, a lot of women. And so they had to, in order to get married, they had to convert, but they still identify as Jews to the extent where they come and celebrate some of the holidays at some of the synagogues, this one in particular synagogue. So I'm going to talk at length about this next week, but it was an interesting experience to stand in a sanctuary that holds probably twice the number of people that this sanctuary holds, with more Reform rabbis from North America than essentially there are Jews in Egypt. And we were 15, including Rabbi Gore. And but it gives a certain meaning to be there in Egypt and to chant or sing or recite our prayers, because, as all of you know, the phrase most mentioned in most of the prayers, next to Israel, the country mentioned, is Egypt. So it's usually in the context of Yetziat Mitzrayim, leaving Egypt, which worked after Nasser, when he took over from King Farouk, expelled the Jews from Egypt. But they're trying to save and do the best they can to save a pretty substantial number of synagogues. And I will bear that in mind as together we sing the Song of the Sea, having just made that trip from Egypt, not into the Promised Land, but at least into the Golden State and the Promised Land of Los Angeles, as we sing the Mi Chamocha on page 158.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha bailim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, norati lo osefele. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקעם לפני משה ומרים. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקעם לפני משה ומרים. זלזלי אנו יאמרו אדוני ya la 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 la, 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 ya la la la, ya la la la. ונאמר כי ברעוני אל יעקב, וגלום יד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה Ya page 160 for Hashki Venu, the nighttime prayer. Together, Hashki Venu. Hashki Venu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu malkeinu lechayim Hashki Venu Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu malkeinu lechayim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu malkeinu lechayim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu malkeinu lechayim. Raise us up to life, lechayim. Lechayim. Lechayim.
Page 162. Sing about Shabbat.
Shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם
כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Adonai sefatai tiftach Urfi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise.
166.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu Rimotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor V'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Koneh Hakol, V'Zocher Chasei Avot V'Imahot, U'Mevii Geula Livnei Bneihem, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה, רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. We're going to conclude the Amidah with Oseh Shalom on page 180. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down.
May the one who makes peace bring peace down.
Oseh Shalom Bimroma. Oseh Shalom Bimroma. Hu yaseh Shalom. Hu yaseh Shalom. Hu yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom. Let's sing it together. Oseh Shalom Bimroma. hu yaseh shalom. Hu yaseh shalom. Hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu. 1, 2, 3. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Oh, say shalom. Bim Roma.
Shabbat Shalom. This is a moment to think of those people close to us who are in need of a blessing of healing. We think commonly of healing of the body, people who are physically ill, hopefully something from which they will recover in most cases, but also those who are in need of a blessing because they are struggling emotionally or spiritually. And sometimes, often, they're connected. And if there's people in your life, we're going to approach that moment where it would be good for you to mention their names aloud. We think first of these members of our congregation: Sally Harris, Lois Fink, Sheila Wegg, Daniel Marletti, Edward Curry, Genoa Haywood, Herb Aaron, Barry Scherer, Sonia Goodman, Marcy Leonard, Josephine Berger, Michelle Mordkoff, Harriet Cohen, Gloria Frosch, Daniel Benchana, Emily Owen, Yehuda Jablon, Cynthia Rosenson, Elaine Smith, Mark Friedman, Marissa Axelrod, Chilit Bat Gila, Ray Friedman, Jerry Daniel, Sarah C.C., and Mark Rubenstein. If there's anyone close to you and you wish to remember them for a blessing, please mention their name aloud. The Misha Berach in your Siddur is on page 371.
Together. Misha Berach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishe Beirach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Shabbat Shalom again. This is the third Friday in February. So, we designate the third Shabbat of each month to anyone who was married in that month. So if you were married in the month of February, we'd love to have you come up and receive a blessing here on our bima. Is there anybody here who was married in the month of February? Anybody? Statistically, that shouldn't be the case. Really, nobody married in February? What month were you? I'll take it. Sold. I always say if you miss your month, you can come any other month. Yes, exactly. So fabulous. Randy and Jeff, please rise. Phew. That was a hard sell. So, Randy and Jeff, how long have you been married? 34 years. 2 months, yeah. And where were you married? Marina Del Rey. Temple Marina Del Rey. Excellent. And with the water and everything. That's fantastic. Do you have any children?
We do.
Yes? You have 2 children. I know the answers to these questions. I'm just, since you're up here by yourselves, I'm giving you an extra moment. So there you go. Well, it's fabulous to have both of you here. How long have you been members of Temple Judea? 23. How long did you teach in our religious school?
13 years.
Excellent. How many commandments are there? No, I'm just... No, you taught for many, many years in our religious school.
Whose children did I teach?
Just about everybody's, yes. Absolutely. And you did really well with those kids.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Deresh Rabbi Akiva Ish V'Ishaz Chushkina B'neihem. If the husband and wife are worthy, the divine presence abides with them. God, eternal source of blessing, we turn to you in gratitude for the strength and devotion that have preserved and sustained Jeff and Randy and permitted them to reach this hour. In the midst of this wonderful congregation to which you have given so much, you look back upon the years that have passed since you first pledged yourselves to one another. Many and varied have been your experiences since that day. Many have been mingled occasions of victory and defeat, of fulfillment and disappointment. I know that you recall many joys that have graced your days with light and beauty, but as well, we know that there have been dark storms that shook you. But in joys and trials alike, God, you have been with this couple, so continue to be with them, guiding and sustaining them in the years to come. Randy and Jeff, we pray that God will bless you with health and contentment in the circle of your family and friends, near and far, and we say together, Amen.
Amen.
And we say,
Mazel
Mazel
tov.
tov.
Hey, Simon Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simon Tov, Simon Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simon Tov, Simon Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simon Tov. Yehei lanu, Yehei lanu, Yehei lanu, ulecho Yisrael. Yehei lanu, Yehei lanu, ulecho Yisrael. Simon Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simon Tov, Simon Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simon Tov, Simon Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simon Tov. Yehei lanu. One big Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Well, you know, last week we had a really great Torah portion. It was Parshat Yitro, happened to be my bat mitzvah Torah portion, and happened to be those 10 commandments of which Randy was referring to earlier. And it's a fantastic portion. There's so much in it. It is so exciting. It's one of maybe like the top Torah portions. And then we have that being a very hard act to follow. And we have this week, we have Mishpatim. Now, Mishpatim, on its surface, might seem to be a very difficult portion to wrestle with. It has a lot of disparate laws and rules. It has, the beginning starts to talk about when you acquire a Hebrew slave, so we kind of have some things that may or may not have anything to do with us today. And the rabbis take the first word of this portion and they say, it starts, Ve'ele hamishpatim, these are the rules, meaning that it's connected to the 10 Commandments, meaning that those 10 Commandments are the beginning of the expression of all of these rules and laws. And still, in trying to decide what to talk about in all these rules and laws, it can be a little challenging. So I settled upon one that I found at first to start to talk about, and it's on page 514, and if you'd like to look to believe that it actually says this, you're welcome to do that in this book that says the Torah on it. It says, one who insults one's father or mother shall be put to death. And just because I have one of my children in the room, I decided that I am not actually going to talk about that verse, but it would be a fun one to talk about. What I'm actually going to talk about is on page 517, and it is a rule that seems at its surface to be rather pedantic, something that we would kind of know about already. When a person, it's verse 6 on page 517, when a person gives money or goods to another for safekeeping, and they are stolen from that other person's house, if caught, the thief shall pay double, and so on and so forth. So when a person gives money or goods to another for safekeeping, this seems like in a document that is supposed to be a spiritual teachings of the Jewish people, it seems like, this is down to the nitty-gritty of the way that we live our lives. So I took a look at why this verse is in here and some other ways that the rabbis play around with all of these kinds of ideas of rules and laws. And I discovered that I wanted to teach all of you how much fun it is to play around with all of these words and what the rabbis do from a tiny little verse to expand it into something quite extraordinary. So from this verse, when a person gives money or goods to another for safekeeping, the rabbis actually derive that there are 4 different kinds of guardians, 4 different kinds of people who are holding on to something for safekeeping. The first kind of guardian is an unpaid guardian. This is a guardian who is taking care of somebody else's property really as a favor, and they're not receiving any compensation for it. And even though this person is under obligation to take care of that object, if something happens to it, we're told by the text that they don't bear responsibility for it. So if the object is lost, or if it's damaged, something happens to it, he has to pay, but as long as he's provided the reasonable care that he said he was going to provide, and he takes an oath saying, I did my best, he's absolved from any responsibility from this. All that from this one little verse. So there's another kind of guardian. This is a guardian who is paid to take care of somebody's property. And for his services, he is expected to provide, and his responsibility in this matter is even greater. And the Torah differentiates here between avoidable damages, like loss or theft that this person should be protecting against, and unavoidable damages like armed robbery or some sort of natural death. The paid guardian is responsible for the former things, for all of the avoidable damages, and not responsible for unavoidable damages. So we see that from this little verse, we start to have an understanding of how to build a society, that takes care of one another, that follows certain rules all the time, that for everyone there are certain kinds of rules. There's another kind of guardian here, and this is the borrower. And this borrower has the highest level of liability. You might assume that, because they're caring for this object for the sake of the owner, and or for the sake not of the owner, but for the sake of themselves. They are borrowing this thing, they are using this thing, and the owner is saying, here, I'll let you use this for a little bit of time. So if something happens to it, it doesn't matter whether it is an act of God, like a lightning bolt. It doesn't matter what happens and how it happens. This borrower is responsible for that thing. Makes sense, right? One more kind of guardian. This is the renter. This gets a little tricky because there are a couple of opinions about this. As usual with Jews, lots of opinions. One rabbi, Rabbi Judah, says that this is a lot like the unpaid guardian. The renter is like an unpaid guardian who is responsible only if they act in a negligent way. And the other rabbi, Rabbi Meir, says that this is the same as the paid guardian, and the renter is liable for all of the avoidable damages but not the unavoidable ones. So why is all this stuff important? And why does it get derived from this one tiny little verse? Well, first of all, it is really amazing to live in a society where accountability and personal responsibility is taken very seriously. And that is the society that the Torah is striving to build. People know they're responsible for something, and a level of trust can take place. So people would be able to borrow, people would be able to lend with an understanding of what would happen if these situations took place. These are laws that are functional. They're laws that are doable, and they're laws that are clear. And they are laws that apply to everyone under the same circumstances, the same law. Now, obviously, these are not the only 4 cases in which a person has a person's object under their care. And there are a million kinds of scenarios that are talked about in the Talmud. However, all of these situations are funneled down into these 4 categories, making things, in some ways, quite simple to deal with one another. But is Torah really a lesson about the law and ethics and personal responsibility? On the one hand, yes. And on the other hand, we're always looking for what does it say even more deeply than that. Is it about the law, or is it somehow about the spirit of the law? It's got to actually be both. So I always look, in these cases, to Hasidic teaching because there's always something unusual there. And the Hasidic teaching regarding guardians is that this is really an instruction not about property, not about one human being to another, but about ourselves, about our own lives, about what we're gifted in this world. The human's role in this world is that of a guardian. God places us in the Garden of Eden and tells us to work it and to keep it or guard it. So we are literally shomrim, we are literally guardians. God trusts this world to our care and charges us with the responsibility of safeguarding it and developing the resources which God has granted and made available to all of us. We are guardians of this world around us. We are guardians of our own bodies, this body that we're given for a short time, lent to us for just a short time. And so, Hasidic teaching tells us that these 4 guardians are actually an understanding of approaches to living our lives. The first one, the unpaid guardian, is the one who says, I was only created to serve my Creator. The unpaid guardian sees his life, her talents, possessions as belonging to God, something that has been placed in their trust to work and to keep. This person does not feel that God owes us anything in return. The paid guardian feels this way too, but because he feels he pays for this or does work in order to earn what she has acquired, she feels entitled to something, some life of her own, in return for the work done for God. On the other extreme is the borrower, who's given what he is given for his own benefit and doesn't see a need to pay for it. To the borrower, the purpose of life is personal self-fulfillment and self-realization. He might acknowledge that the ultimate owner is, and who the ultimate owner is, and accept obligations toward God as this guardian, but doesn't feel that he owes God anything for these gifts. And the renter is like a borrower except the renter sees that he or she needs to earn this privilege of the gift of life. The Baal Shem Tov takes this even one step further and uses a verse from Psalms which says that God is like your shadow. The way we act and we feel toward the world and toward God is actually the way God sticks to us, kind of like a shadow that is being cast by our own thoughts and movements. Human beings have been given free rein to choose whichever mode of guardianship we want to use to define our lives. We can use this idea of free lunch, like the borrower. But then God says, you must take full responsibility as well. If things go awry in life, if they are off in some way, if you make mistakes, and even if circumstances beyond your control overwhelm you, that's your problem. After all, it's you who decided that it's your life and it doesn't belong to God. Or a person can assume a renter's self-definition, in which case he or she is relieved of some responsibility. Because he or she senses indebtedness to God, they don't need to bear the burdens fully themselves. The same thing is true of a paid guardian. True, this person hasn't given themselves over completely to guardianship, but the basic approach is that life isn't ours, but the Creator's. So God relates to us in similar fashion to the way that we choose to relate to the world and to God. The unpaid guardian is absolved of vulnerability to everything except for outright negligence, as long as this person remains faithful to our mission in life. He or she doesn't have to be worried about everything around in the material world. Because they've relinquished all needs to hold on to things that are ours, that are part of the self, because we, those people who do this, see life in terms of service to the Creator only, God then, we're taught, takes full responsibility for our lives. It's a beautiful way of looking at this. If we give over ourselves to God and to the path that God sets for us, then somehow we're going to be absolved of responsibility in certain ways. On the other hand, it's a hard thing to wrap one's head around, because the way in which we've been taught to live life is to fulfill an individual purpose. I think that's what is so beautiful about Mishpatim and all of the laws to come back to. The way in which we live our lives with an understanding that this is, in fact, rented time, is by fulfilling the responsibilities toward one another. To look at the world that we're given, look around at the world we're given and see its beauty, see the parts of it that make so much sense, and hold on to those things. To try to institute laws and rules that are the same for everyone, that are equal for everyone, and play our equal part in taking care of one another. And if we do that, and if we follow these rules that are set out for us one by one in Mishpatim and in all of the rest of Torah, then we have an opportunity to see the regularity of the world, to see the parts of the world that make sense in a world that is sometimes hard to find sense. So I think Mishpatim helps us to understand a sacred mission that belongs to our community, that belongs to each one of us. And in this world of individual purpose and self-fulfillment, we can turn toward one another and toward our community and hope to uplift each other and hold up our sacred communal purpose and find in that sacred living. May it be God's will. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Rabbi Cantor-Wisset. As you know, I always enjoy learning from you. And I don't get the opportunity a lot because we're always teaching opposite each other, so it's lovely. All right, hold it. Here we go. Jay Schlanger. Here you go.
Is it on? Oh, yeah. On behalf of the board of the temple, I wish to welcome everybody here, both people who are members of the temple and people who are just visiting. I also want to thank our orchestra here. These look like a lot of different faces than we normally see, but you guys did an absolutely fantastic job. Our sound and lighting technicians who keep us well informed and able to see and hear. And the clergy, which did an absolutely wonderful job. I like the tan. It looks really good on you. Let's talk about just basically 1 week coming up in 2 weeks. It's the week leading up to Purim. We're starting on the Monday night with the Megillah on the roof. If you've ever been to one of these, if you've never been to one of these things, it's a lot of fun. They put on a whole show, making it themed to, in this case, Fiddler on the Roof, but having to do with Purim. Then the next night is the girls' night out, and they'll be doing a Persian dinner when they'll talk about the Persian history of the Jews. And again, this is a nice night for me to go and have some sushi. Then the Purim Carnival is Sunday, March 15th. A lot of fun. If all your kids are here, bring them. It's a kick. We have a lot of fun. If you happen to have some time, we do need some volunteers to help out at different places to sell tickets and stuff. But please, please come. It's a lot of fun. That's it. That's it. Thank you. Good to see you back.
Thank you, and always a joy to have you here. Rabbi Cantor Wissett commented to me, Jay, as you were coming up, that we should ask each board members make announcements now, which walk-up song they would like. Whatever, okay,
I was thinking
well,
like Nefesh Mountain for you, something like bluegrass maybe, yeah?
you know. Well, and then just like they do at Dodger Stadium, we'll have your picture up there with your stats. I don't know what stats they would be, but how many eyes you've examined and all that kind of thing.
After your trip, would yours be Walk Like an Egyptian?
Of course. Whoa. Oh. Wow. Well done. This is a good time for us to tell everybody about our current
We are
musicians.
so fortunate to have with us tonight for the very first time Alice Wong on the piano joining us. And welcome back to Adrian Rosen, who's been with us. Adrian is playing bass. And you guys all know John Ferraro, who is with us so often. And thank you all for just adding so much to our service tonight. Really beautiful.
Now, I was looking at John the whole service. It seems to me there's something different. Ah, the beard, see?
That's it.
Is that like Lag Bomer for Jew? I mean, I don't know. That's a pretty halakhic joke. So.
Yeah.
Lag Bomer is the only day you can shave during the Omer. Anyway. Thank you. I'm here
Dumb rabbi
every week.
jokes.
All of us are, actually. And did you mention that Alice is a student of Tali's? Okay. So I don't know if you know, Tali teaches accompanists how to do their work at a very high level, and one of her proteges is Alice, and we hope she will be back, both Alice and Tali. Who's had a birthday in the past week? Or is this going to be like the anniversary? Okay, great. You can come up. If you've had a birthday, come on up and help open the ark, please. Didn't have to be the last week. We're flexible, so it could be 10 days. At any rate, please rise. Exactly.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
this moment, let us think of loved ones whom death has recently taken and those who died at this season in years past. If you are here to observe the mourning period of Shiva, which is the 7-day mourning period, I invite you to rise at your seat and mention the name of your loved one aloud. If you're here to observe the Shloshim, the 30-day mourning period, and you wish to remember a loved one, please rise at your seat and mention the name of your loved one aloud. If you are here to observe Yortzeit, the anniversary of the death of a loved one, if you were here in Shana, the year-long period of mourning, or to observe Yortzeit for anyone for any reason, please rise at your seat and mention the name of your loved one aloud. We think also of these members of our community whose names have been memorialized outside the sanctuary: Helene Balanik, Joyce Marilyn Bank, Murray Bernstein, Wendy Hiller Bluebond, Persis Surf, Alice Davis, Iris H. Dufine, Benny Fadden, Norman Ferber, Albert J. Feiner, Francis F. Friedberg, Joyce Lawson Golden, Oscar S. Goldman, Ida Green, Maurice Green, Rose Greenhouse, Jill Lee Gregory, Leopold Gross, Simon Hirschfield, Celia Meller, Michael Mermelstein, Paul Reese, Ellis Robinson, Lisa Roderick, Molly Silverman, Nathan Smolensky. Zichronam livracha. Let their memories be a blessing to their loved ones. We rise together as a congregation. The Kaddish is on page 598. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah v'alma divrach irute v'amlich malchute v'chayichon uvyomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael v'agalau v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shemei rabbah mevarach le'olam olmei olmaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalau shemei dekodesha b'richu Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da minran bi'ama v'imru amen. Yehi shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bin romav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort the bereaved among us. Let us say together, amen. Wish each other Shabbat Shalom. We have two wonderful B'nai Mitzvah tomorrow. Talia, Jordan, with your parents and siblings. Please come up and join us here on the Bima.
We're going to conclude with Oseh Shalom, so let's all sing it together. Oseh Shalom bimrama, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh Shalom bimrama, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh Shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל. Just our voices now. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
Let us go with Kiddush. No, don't go away. Come forward, in fact. We're all going to help and join.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu l'shabbat kosher ve'ahava u'rotzon hinhilanu zikra l'avasei v'reishi ki hu yom tehillah l'mikrei kodesh zer elitziyah mitzrayim ki vadu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'imim ve'shabbat kosher ve'ahava u'rotzon hinhiltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashalat.
Amen. L'chaim. Take a little sip. Wow. Okay.
Oh, with their families, of course. Here you go. You can share holding this. And everybody's going to come around and join together and touch someone who's touching someone who's touching someone who's touching the challah. As soon as we're ready.
Once everybody's connected, let's get a big Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.